fall of 1990, Gainesville, Florida, thousands of students were moving into their apartments, unpacking boxes, and settling into their dorm rooms. Their futures wide open. Until the night Danny Rolling rolled into town. This is Hold My Sweet Tea. Hey, everybody, I'm Holly.
And I'm Pearl. And why in the heck are we already halfway through October?
Look, at the beginning of October, I reached out to whatever powers may be in the universe and said, please, for the love of whomever, can we please have a slow October? And it is flying by. They did not listen.
It said no. The answer is no.
No. I'm like, I need... Of course, spooky season will continue on for me. But, like,
yeah.
I'm just...
I mean, I was about to say, every season is spooky season.
Right?
Up in here.
Exactly.
I know, I keep going, and I almost wore that shirt today, by the way.
The matching shirt.
That would
have been funny.
Going, I need to get out my October shirts.
Yep. Well, you have the midnight margaritas.
I have to get it in. Yep. I mean, this one I wear anyway.
Yeah.
But like, I try not. I have so many things.
I know. Me too. Like I have 2 drawers full of folded T-shirts, and like most of them are Halloween shirts. So I'm like, throw this one in, throw that one in. Like, get them where I can. So. And wear all the spooky shirts.
Me and the daughter are going to go to a haunted house because Lord help me if we don't do it one time. So I'm going to wear my Hunter Orange horrors in this house.
Horrors in this house. There we go.
To the haunted house. At least then she won't be able to lose me.
Yeah, right. She'll be like, it's my mom, the one in bright orange over there.
Exactly.
Safety orange.
The one you can see and won't accidentally mistake as a deer.
Right.
That lady.
That lady right there.
So, I liked the intro.
Thanks.
I said, he's rolling.
And from Florida. Like, there we go. Limp Biscuit. But we are going to get into today. They call him different things. The Halloween Killer, the Gainesville Ripper. But he was the inspiration behind the Ghostface Killer.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Look at that. All these inspiratory killers bringing about some great movies.
But I figured, why not? You know, it's spooky season. Let's
roll with it.
Roll with it. Right. So his name is Danny Harold Rolling. We're rolling with it. So he was born on May 26, 1954, Gemini. Yeah.
Gross.
In Shreveport, Louisiana.
Makes sense.
Yep. I know. I was like, nope, he's a Gemini. I missed Gemini by 2 days. I dodged that bullet real fast. I was almost a Gemini. I don't know what I'd do it myself, but you know. I guess I would roll with it too, but at least I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'm my Taurus self, very practical and down to earth. But from the outside, like most of these people, like his family looked ordinary, just an ordinary family. His mother and father had gotten married young, and she got pregnant. And his father, like a lot of men, blamed her. You know, because
she did it all by herself.
Because him, doing his part didn't do anything. It was all her.
It was immaculate conception.
Exactly.
He didn't help.
But his father, James Rolling, was a decorated police officer.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But
his mother, Claudia, a quiet woman who tried to keep the peace at home. But James was very abusive to her. And when Danny was born, he made sure that Danny knew from day one that he was an accident and he never wanted him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prized father right there.
He was violent. He demanded perfection from his wife and son. And when he didn't get it, he used his fist. He beat Claudia. He berated Danny. He told him, you'll never amount to anything. You will never accomplish anything in life. You are a failure.
You are making him.
Yeah.
One. With your words.
So, of course, Danny's childhood became a study in fear. He learned to, hide. He learned to stay silent, shrink into the, the shadows. But he internalized his pain.
So, for once, it's the daddy that's messing up the kid.
Right, not the mommy. No mommy issues. It was daddy issues. Exactly. His mom tried to leave several times. She would leave, but he always pulled her back in.
Mm-hmm.
And that just hurts my heart,
They have a way, and it's hard to explain that way to anyone
really
who's never experienced it.
Yeah, just leave. No, it's not that easy. You have to be in that person's mind. So his only escape was his imagination. He would sketch, he would play guitar, he would retreat into fantasy worlds where he could be anyone but himself. He would stay outside a lot because he didn't want to be in the house with his father. So he would go around the neighborhood and not really peep for creepy reasons, but he would peep into people's houses and go, gosh, this family looks so normal.
Or that's just, for him, normal is getting beat up, and he's probably sitting there in awe of these people, eating dinner together.
Yep, and that's what happened.
And, a father sitting on the couch with his kid reading to him or something, just any of that.
Or physical affection.
Right.
Hugging and showing support. So this started building up a lot of resentment, a lot of feelings that he was why is this family like this and mine is this way? I don't understand it. So as a teenager, that pain turned into rebellion. He drank, he fought, he stole. By his 20s, he had been arrested multiple times for armed robbery. And then, he spent time drifting from state to state, living off whatever he could steal. But inside, Danny, something darker was forming. A fascination with power, violence, and control. His father. That's what his father did. He wasn't just angry. He was becoming something else entirely. So before he moved to Gainesville, he, like I said, lived in Shreveport. He did get married. He did try to find religion. They went to Pentecostal church and all that stuff. So he tried a lot.
It's probably the wrong place to try.
Right.
I'm not a largely religious person, but I've been to so many different churches.
Types of churches, yeah.
Yeah. That's rough. Especially when you come from a bad background, I feel like that's a very strict religion, and he probably needed to seek out something a little more easygoing.
So, it just wasn't working. His wife ended up leaving. He went into the military. He tried to do that. He ended up being a failure at that as well because he got hurt. So it's everything he was doing in his mind, his father telling him, you'll never amount to nothing. You'll be a failure. Everything was failing. Everything. So
I'm sure he just kept hearing that too.
Right.
Like, that's on replay. Every time something goes wrong, he probably hears his dad, and he's probably like, see, he was right.
Yep.
Which is feeding that negativity that's growing.
And also, he started peeping into windows for more sexual pleasure.
Oh, so it changed.
It changed.
It went from, I'm jealous that your family looks so great, to, now I want to see your boobies.
Because his marriage failed and all this stuff. So now he's got this thing of like, I'm going to fixate on this person and watch their every move. So this brings us to the Grissom family in Shreveport. Tom Grissom, he had a 24-year-old daughter, Julie, and an 8-year-old grandson, Sean. On November 4th, 1989, Rolling entered their home, and he, brutally beat, he sexually assaulted Julie, and he killed all 3 of them. He stabbed the 8-year-old so hard that it went through the 8-year-old into the ground, into the floor. The knife was. That's how much anger he had behind him. Julie was mutilated, but her body was left posed. So this would kind of become his thing. He cleaned her body. Soap and water cleaned it. He arranged it in a deliberate pose, almost like a real ritualistic way, and left it like that. Everybody else was just slaughtered. But he cleaned her, and, so I think maybe in his mind, he wanted to see her in a different way and not in a horrific way, because that way he could think back to that. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe he could think back to that and be like, okay, this is the last vision I had of her. And
or maybe the only bit of remorse, any ounce of remorse left in his body is reflected in her, since he really didn't hate his mom. I feel like he hated himself. He hated his dad.
Yes.
But wasn't like that with his mother. No. And so maybe he was
he didn't have the hatred toward women mommy issues.
So he's like, let me let me clean her up, and there's a minute piece of respect in that sense, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still dead.
Right. She's still, sexually assaulted and dead.
But I feel like maybe he just treated that differently because of his family dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. But at the time, the police had no suspect. But the staging, the brutality, and the sexual nature of the crime would later prove to be, like I said, an early signature of Danny Rolling. After those murders, Rolling disappeared. He drifted through the South, eventually ending up in Gainesville, Florida. And that's where the real horror began. So it was August 24th, 1990, when he first, struck in Gainesville. 18-year-old Sonia Larson and 17-year-old Christina Powell, both freshmen at the University of Florida. They were both so excited. They had met and they were like, let's not live in the dorms. Let's get an off-campus apartment. We'll share the rent. We'll both work. It's going to be the best time of our lives. So they had just moved into their apartment. They were excited for their new lives, but they were unaware that a stranger was watching them from the woods. They were in their kitchen, just laughing and having fun. They were doing dishes. He told all of this later. They were doing dishes. They were laughing with each other, just music going, having a great time. Being college freshmen, ready for life to start. This is their new chapter of life. Yeah. Their families, of course, were on edge, my babies are moving and all that stuff. And that would just break my heart. So Rolling broke in late at night. When he got to Gainesville, he bought, he went to an Army surplus store. He bought a knife. He had a screwdriver. He had, some tactical gear and things like that he had bought.
So he got there and bought and assembled his kill kit.
His kit. Yep. He got his kill kit duct tape. That was another one of his things. He had duct tape. He got everything ready to go because he was on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
So he also lived, like, there were like a good wooded area in that area near the university. So he set up a tent, and that's where he squatted in those woods.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So Rolling broke in at night, armed with a knife. It was an apartment with a sliding glass door. I was like, I will never live anywhere with a sliding glass door.
I tell you that I always either have a piece of very strong wood that is measured
jammed in it.
Yep. Measured to that length where it will barely move.
Yep.
If you try.
That's why he got the screwdriver, because most of those college apartments, sliding glass doors, and they're easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So within hours, both young women were dead. One was upstairs in the bedroom. The other, her furniture hasn't come yet, so she was downstairs sleeping on the couch. So he chose which one he wanted to do first. So he went upstairs first, and he raped and killed her. And he kept her quiet so the one downstairs wouldn't hear. And then the one downstairs was the one that he was really fixated on. So again, he raped, he stabbed, he washed them, he posed them, arranging their bodies, though they were part of like just this macabre like scene. And that was it. He left. So
that's a lot of time.
Yeah,
he
spent in there, and he made sure to clean everything, wipe everything, because they couldn't get fingerprints and all this stuff. So he left, and the parents, of course, tried to get a hold of their daughters because it was the next day, and they're like, "Haven't heard from you. It's your first night in your apartment.
How'd it go?" Yeah.
More time would go by, so finally the parents are coming down. Well, of course, they get the police, they get the apartment people to kind of break the door and let them in, and there they are, dead, like done. The next night, he found another victim. So this is more of a spree killing.
Golly, yeah, he didn't really have any cooling off.
Nope. And all of his victims, the female victims, they all kind of look like his ex-wife. They were all petite and brunette.
Oh.
So he had a type.
Mm-hmm. Well, then he's spreading some anger from that situation.
Yeah, because that was another failure. Yeah. So, like I said, the next night, Christina Hoyt, 18 years old, she lived alone. She worked part-time as a records clerk for the sheriff's office. So she was also, starting college and everything. Her parents said she wanted to be a police officer. That's all she ever talked about. She wanted to be a police officer, so she got a job at night working records and stuff like that, and never missed work, ever. So he broke into her apartment, attacked her, murdered her, washed her, but he did something different with her. He decapitated her.
Oh. What? Why?
He positioned her body facing her head. When you walked in the front door, first thing you see was her head looking at her body.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So the crimes were like methodical. They were theatrical almost, like the way he was posing them, like scenes from a slasher film brought to life.
Right.
Pretty much. So he was putting a lot of thought into these things. A few nights later, he struck again. This time, he fixated on Tracy Paules. She was 23 years old. She lived with a friend of hers from back home. His name was Manny Taboda. They shared an apartment. They had their own rooms and stuff. Well, he didn't figure Manny being home.
Mm-hmm.
So when he broke in, he found Manny sleeping. Manny was a big guy. He was on the football team, university football team. He was a big guy, like strong, 6 foot, I think 6'2", 6'3", something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he stabbed Manny in his sleep. Well, Manny woke up and fought back.
Ooh.
Yeah. He did end up overpowering him. and killing him. But as Manny was like fighting back and yelling, Tracy came out of her room, like freaked the hell out and like ran back in her room and locked the door. Well, Rolling busted the door in and dragged her out.
I'm like, her. I would have left the whole place.
Yeah. Well, I guess she was just out. Like, didn't know what to do. And then,
yeah, you're in that moment, you never know. Like, but I would have been like, run into somebody else's house. Right. Like, call 911.
Get out the window. But he like went right after her because he killed, Manny. Mm-hmm. So just within 4 days, 5 students were dead. Like, there was terror in Gainesville, like complete. People were making their kids come home from college, and like classes had just stopped. Like, students that didn't go home were like buddy system, like 6 or 7 girls to an apartment sleeping in there, just flipping out. They said the media, it was so bad. The media were flying in and just like running through the airport trying to get to the scene. They were following the detectives, and every time the detectives would talk to somebody, they would be like right after them talking to that same person trying to get information. The head detective on the case said that they like some of the things were like, I have this card with all this money on it from a out of country bank account. It could be yours if you give me some information. They were bribing the police because like this had turned into such a huge panic that.
Well, and they're sensationalizing it at that point, which is cray-cray.
Nobody felt
like, don't do
safe.
that.
Right. But it's also like, if you think about this Houston, all these bodies and stuff, they're sensationalizing it and going, a serial killer before they find out any facts. But police weren't disclosing all the information because they were still investigating.
Right.
But also, they were like, what the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. So the panic was just like spreading. Gainesville Police Department, like I said, was under immense pressure. Hundreds of officers, FBI agents poured into the area. It was a media circus. Like everybody was like, who could do something like this? But the crime scenes gave away little information, except one thing. The killer was careful, almost meticulous. He wiped down surfaces. He used gloves. He left behind little evidence. But wasn't perfect. DNA, fingerprints, and certain patterns hinted that this wasn't his first time. And then as quickly as the murder started, they kind of stopped. He wasn't gone. He was just kind of hiding. So
he's like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Let me give it a minute because everybody's freaking out.
There was another suspect in the case that was arrested at the time that they thought maybe it could have been him because he went to the university and he had some mental problems. He got arrested for like domestic abuse against his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was kind of like a troublemaker. So they were thinking, well, maybe this is the guy. So they had him, for a while. But on September of 1999, after robbing a grocery store, a man was arrested in Ocala, Florida. His name was Danny Rolling. At the time, no one suspected him of the Gainesville murders. He was just another drifter with a criminal past. But while sitting in jail, police found something that would change everything. A small audio recorder and a stack of disturbing tapes. This was in his tent. So they found his tent in the woods. They found his kill kits, his stuff, all that stuff. They still didn't know who it belonged to. So on one of those tapes, he confessed to doing some bad things. Like he recorded everything. Like he was his internalization was like he needed to speak it. He spoke in riddles, quoting scriptures, talking about demons, hinting at what he had done. Investigators matched his DNA to the evidence from the Gainesville scenes, and the truth came out. Danny Rolling was the Gainesville Ripper, the so-called Halloween killer. And it wasn't around October like Halloween, but it seems like something that would happen in a Halloween type movie, a slasher film.
Right.
Scream. So in 1994, Danny Rolling finally confessed, not only to the 5 Gainesville murders, but also the 1989 Shreveport killings, which they were like, whoa, okay, now we got this. He claimed that a dark alter ego named Gemini had taken control of him.
Oh my goodness. His evil twin.
And for reference, The Exorcist 3 was one of his favorite horror films. Yeah, I was like, bruh. You took that Gemini thing and ran with it, didn't you? Because you know you're crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Rowling said he was driven by a compulsion, a need to become a superstar. Like the killers he had seen in movies. Because he had never, like I said, never accomplished anything. But killing, he was accomplishing something. He was a superstar. So the trial was quick. Evidence was overwhelming. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. In the years leading up to his execution, though, he began drawing, writing songs, creating religious art. Of course, you know, he said he found religion.
It's the weirdest thing. Everybody finds God in prison.
Right, because they have nothing else to find. But even in his letters, interviews, the hunger for fame never, quite disappeared. He wanted the world to remember his name, and in a dark way. It did. On October 25th, 2006, Danny Rolling was executed at the Florida State Prison in Stark. Outside the prison, protesters and victims of the families gathered. Some held candles, others signs demanding justice. Inside, Rolling sat quietly. When asked if he had any final words, he didn't apologize. He didn't explain. Instead, he sang a hymn, a strange, haunting melody that drifted through the chambers as the chemicals entered his veins. Within minutes, he was gone. He was 52 years old when when his execution took place. The man known as the Halloween Killer had taken his last breath just 6 days before Halloween. So in the aftermath, like I said, of the murders, Rolling's crimes inspired one of the most iconic horror films of all time, Scream. Writer Kevin Williamson admitted that the Gainesville Ripper case had haunted him, inspiring the movie's mass killer and the ideas of terror in seemingly safe college town. But unlike the Hollywood version, Rolling's story had no clever dialogue, what's your favorite scary movie? Do you have a boyfriend? All that stuff. No fictional distance. His victims were real people, young students, full of potential, taken in moments of unimaginable cruelty. Today, Gainesville has moved forward, but the memory, is still there. They have a memorial wall with that, like college boys used to graffiti. Well, they made it into a memorial with all of the Gainesville victims. But every August, as students unpack their boxes and decorate their dorm rooms and apartments, the residents remember. They fear, what if it happened again? So,
I mean, and it's possible.
Yeah. And the monsters that we see on screen are often born from the ones that walk among us.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Gein. This Danny Rolling. There's so many movies made after real life killers. So he was a spree. He murdered, but he also moved and then he went on a spree killing. So it wasn't but I'm sure if he wasn't caught, it would have continued.
Oh, he would have done it again. There would have been the little break because he needed the police to get out of the way, or he would have decided to move again, and it just would have happened somewhere else.
And he did take that little break because the other dude was arrested. So maybe he was like, okay, well, if he takes the fall for this, maybe I can move somewhere else and do it again.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get me off the hook. Nobody will ever suspect me. But they found his stuff in the woods, and
then he had to go rob a supermarket.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Got caught.
Yep.
But I was like, another spooky one for you. So, what is your favorite scary movie?
For real, what is it?
Tell us.
Steeped at holdmysweettea.com.
Yeah. I wonder what Patty Salzetta's favorite scary movie is.
I don't know, but she should also tell us.
Absolutely. Because she does some wonderful music. She did our music.
She did our music.
That's right.
So message us on social media if you want to. You don't have to use the email. You want to tell us about your favorite scary movie, or send us your stories, because like I promised, we're still totally willing if you send us a story to read it
and let us know. Do you have a boyfriend
on the pod? Right. Do you want Crystal Joe now?
Right. You want Crystal Joe now? To give you a boyfriend.
Good for you. We do not say, like, use accents to make fun of people, just so you know. We literally are just silly like that. Yeah. And that is a comedian that does reels and stuff of her show. So,
yep.
Yeah. We're just goofy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Tell us your favorite scary movie. Like, tell us something. We have a need for communication.
We're needy.
We need to be a superstar.
We're your needy podcasters.
Yeah. Share the tea with us. Yep. And as always, Hold My Sweet Tea is a Drunken Bee production.
Bzzzt.
And you guys remember, stay safe out there. Wedge a piece of wood in your sliding glass door.
At minimum.
Lock your windows and doors. Trust no one. And just because we're dipping doesn't mean you can't keep sipping. Bye.